if you're lucky, colourful chalk as well. But generally, there won't be any projectors, that kind of IT equipment really. You might find some IT at the classrooms in school. You may be able to use those. But yeah, generally it probably will be chalkboards and whiteboards. What you might find in the school is kind of like a model classroom. When I was in Phuket, again, one of the classrooms, it had interactive whiteboards, the projectors, a big 5.1 sound system, and all the parents, when they came to the school, they would be taught about the school in this one particular classroom. But no one ever was taught in the classroom. It was all for show. It was all to the chalkboards. Okay, yeah, blackboards. So blackboards, probably less IT equipment. Any other ideas? Anything else? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Very popular in the schools, kind of the flip-up tables. You kind of find there'll be, up to 55 kids in the classroom. They've all got their own desk, and it's kind of like being in a Victorian school, really. We lift up the table, all their stuff is under the table, and close it down. I heard that in some countries they actually nail the desks to the floor, but I haven't found that in Thailand. They've got the desks there, but they're not nailed to the floor. But generally, you can't move them very easily, and the Thai teachers don't like you moving them. So if you've got any great TEFL ideas of getting students sitting in groups, it's not always practical or possible, really. One of the things you kind of got to adapt to. Aircon or non-aircon, do you think? Fans, maybe. Yeah, they will be fans. Aircon, very unlikely. If you're lucky, you might get one. Even in the teacher's room, some of the rooms will have aircon. Maybe in the teacher's room, some of them don't. But what you'll find in the classroom, and I'll bring it up on, I'm up there. It's not on the presentation, it's gone. What you'll find after is that, what am I doing up there? The classrooms are very, very similar across Thailand. They're all kind of like one size, and they all have like two big double doors in the classroom. And the air does kind of circulate around. It does get a bit hot, yes. But the only good thing about that is it keeps the students a bit quiet if it's really hot. They haven't got the energy to speak so much. So take advantage of the heat. It keeps the students quiet, believe me. Right, okay, hopefully my presentation will go back up again. Supposed to look happy. Okay. Can I have my computer screen back? Okay. Just going through some of the things that I wrote. It will come back in a moment. Are we underwater now? Fans on the roof. Yep. Okay. Brought that up. Two double doors. You can see the classroom up there, kind of a double doors into the classroom. The chalkboard as well. Someone here mentioned the display boards as well. There will be display boards in the classroom. Ask the Thai teachers, maybe you can make a display board of your own, English-only type of board, where you can have classroom instructions, from easy basic to good morning, good evening, to even like phrases such as, how do you spell that? May I go to the toilet? Because even in the Thai classes, generally the students will say all that in the English classes, the students will always use Thai for kind of classroom language phrases, can I go to the toilet? How do you spell that? So maybe even making a display on the wall with all these instructions in English, it'd be good for the students, maybe it'd be good for the teachers to kind of encourage them to use more English when they teach English in the classroom. Again, up to 55 students. Some classes may only have 20, 25, but be prepared, some of the classes will be up to 55 in a class. Wooden desks with chairs, yep, very popular. Another thing, make you aware of, you have to respect as well. You will have pictures of the royal family in the classes as well. Best thing to do is just, try not to mention it too much, and just don't kind of like point at things, especially pointing at the picture of the royal family, things like that. And you've got the Thai flags there, and also maybe you'll have some kind of Buddha statue in the classroom. Don't move that as well. Generally, the Buddhist statue in the classroom, it could be just a small thing, has got to be above, I think it's above head height. I'm not quite sure what it is. But generally, if it's in your way or anything like that, just kind of leave it where it is. Actually, one thing I also want to mention, Sometimes you may even find a few stray dogs walking around the classrooms, walking around the school as well. Sometimes with hair, sometimes without hair. And they're not in the best of condition, these dogs. They're not well loved, really. They're kind of abandoned on the street, and they do kind of make it into the school. My students were quite clever. One of the rules in the school was if a dog comes into the classroom, the students are allowed to leave the classroom. So during the exam period, my students, they're quite switched on, they're quite clever. They see a dog in the corridor, they try and get it into the class, because it means that during the exam, all the kids can leave the class, check in all their books about the answers to the test. When the dog's gone, they can all come back in and they've all got the answers, which they've just quickly copied down from their books. So you do find these little dogs walking around the school as well. They have names with the students as well. And what you find sometimes once a year, the students kind of like collect loads of money for the dogs, and they're all sent to the vets. They all look really healthy again, and then over the course of the year, they kind of degenerate again, if that's the right word to use. But yeah, just look out for those dogs in school as well. Be prepared. Okay, talk a little bit about, ways of getting around your area, or ways that you can get to school and the students get to school as well. Just very quickly touch on this. Some of the schools around, they've kind of got these metered taxis. Only some provinces have this. And if you look around Bangkok, apparently there is one taxi, which is a Porsche. And if you're lucky enough, you may be able to get a ride in it. But metered taxis are generally like a good way of getting around the area. And don't be surprised if you hear the words like "my bye," which means "won't go." Sometimes you may want to get somewhere and they won't take you because it's off their route, or they say they're low on fuel. You might have to wait a few taxis to get home sometimes. I think that was true for Dell yesterday, trying to get home. And it was like he couldn't get anywhere for a while. I was managed to just stroll into a taxi and get home. So just be prepared for that. And any kind of transport you take, whether you're going to school or going to different areas, generally the taxi drivers, they won't speak English. So just be prepared for that, really. Motorbikes, another popular way of getting around school. Can anyone count the number of students on the bike at the bottom right there? I have to admit, I didn't take this picture myself. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, you actually got 9 there. It's a bit unfair. It's not a typical motorbike in Thailand, I have to say. But what you'll find is that the students will kind of pile on their motorbikes getting to school. Some of my students were 12, 13 years old, and they were driving cars to school as well. So yeah, generally most of the students, they'll kind of come to school on their motorbike, or by car, by taxi. And also at the top, you've got the motorbike taxi drivers. You see them everywhere across Thailand. It's a quick way of getting around the area. So they're quite cheap, but be careful at the same time, because they won't always give you a helmet, and they may go quite quickly as well. So maybe just sticking to the buses or the taxis is a better option, really. One thing I want to mention as well, kind of quite a serious point as well, is that I know some people here are really interested in hiring motorbikes and want to rent a motorbike, and that's great. I've been here for 4 years, and I've had a motorbike all the time. I love it. The freedom I get from the motorbike is great. But it's quite a popular culture with English teachers here, like teachers that work here, all year round. There's a really popular culture here of drink driving. It's done by Thai people. It's done by the foreign teachers in the school as well. And I just want to say, I really, really recommend that you don't drink drive when you're on the roads in Thailand. Not for the fact the police might stop you. Sometimes they'll stop you if you fall off your bike. They'll pick you up and let you carry on going. Or the opposite, sometimes if you're caught drink driving, they'll probably put you in the local cell overnight. Happened to a friend at work. But also, I've had a housemate in Phuket that died through drink driving. I've got a friend at the moment who's smashed both of his kneecaps through drink driving. I've got friends, who've got broken legs from my old school through drink driving. And this is a common thing all the way across Thailand. It's easy to now think, oh, I'm not going to do it. But then you get into the provinces, you see like not everyone, but you see the majority of people doing it. It's like a, it's a culturally acceptable thing, it seems, in some ways. But again, I really do urge you, like, don't drink drive. There are other ways of getting home in the evenings if you are out late. And I'm sure, Dell and everyone wants everyone, the same numbers of people going home as they came here, really, because that doesn't always happen in schools across Thailand. And just, one thing I just wanted to get across, really urge that you don't drink drive when you're here. Another way of getting around to schools in Thailand, taking the train. The trains go pretty much, near many schools, but they're really unreliable. They could be hours and hours late, so don't kind of rely on them on transport to get to school. Where's my presentation gone? Hang on. Okay, so we've got the train there. Also, you kind of find these little bicycles dotted around the country. Great ways of getting around as well. And these samlaws, as they're called. You pay the guy very little, it seems, for him to drive you in the heat to different places. So I always suggest leaving a small tip at the end of your journey. Local buses as well. These are great. They go around different places. But again, they won't speak much English. And you have to know the route that they're going to, because they won't have any information in English on them. But again, it saves money and it's easy getting around on the local buses. For the main roads as well, you get these song towels, and basically people just pile into the back of it, some standing all sorts of places, going to various places. They generally have a set route, but they kind of do deviate a little bit as well. So you'll see these all over the places, and after a while, you kind of know which one goes to Tesco, which one goes to the shopping centre, and if you're very lucky in a school like Chonburi or maybe near the beach, which one takes you to the beach as well. Now, one of the last things I just want to talk about is kind of like working with the Thai teachers in the school, because obviously this is something which is very important for you guys as assistants to the Thai teacher. And one thing I want you to think about now, and again, have a little discussion activities with the people around you. Think of yourself being in a classroom, maybe 30 to 55 Thai teachers, okay? What kind of problems do you think may happen, or what things will be, what kind of challenges do you think there will be? What kind of difficult situations do you think you may have in class? Maybe think about the culture, think about the resources, think about maybe the teachers themselves and your roles as assistants. Just want you with your friends discuss what kind of problems you think you may face, and what kind of strategies you can use to kind of deal with some of these problems, okay? And I'll give you about 5 minutes just to discuss or write down some of those as well.